Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1824B, and today's date is March 25th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Keep an Eye on the Sword. Nobody walks away from this. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about the deep state. We know they continually push their goals, and we know that they try every trick in the book to scare the American people. And one of the best things you can invest in for your home and for your protection is a Patriot flashlight. Now, this flashlight is solar powered, so you're never going to waste money on batteries again. It has emergency strobe light, it has a USB port, it has a compass, rope, wire cutter, and a siren to ward off individuals. Patriot flashlight is the perfect gift for you and your family. Go to patriotflashlight.com, use the promo code X20 and get 20% off the Patriot flashlight. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, after the summary came out of Mueller's report that Barr issued, the mainstream media, the deep state actors, they are all reeling from this. They're trying to make sense of it. It's very confusing. And you can see that many of these individuals, well, they are panicking. And as Q would say, there is panic in D.C. because this is just the beginning. This is the first step. And we can see a lot of the players, they're in a lot of trouble. I mean, look at creepy porn lawyer Avenetti. You know, Stormy Daniels. And they tried to push that whole agenda. He was on CNN over and over and over. Well, the Southern District of New York, they have announced criminal charges against Michael Avenetti for attempting to extract more than $20 million in payments from Nike Corp. He was threatening to use his ability to garner publicity to inflict substantial financial and reputational harm on the company if his demands were not met. I mean, this guy is just unbelievable. And you can see how all these individuals, they're completely corrupt. And we see at this point that after Mueller's investigation, which consisted of 3,000 subpoenas, 500 witnesses, testimony found that neither Trump nor any of his campaign cronies colluded or conspired with a foreign adversary to rig our 2016 elections. The mainstream media, they just can't figure out what to do with this right now. I mean, they're coming up with their 4 a.m. talking points, which we'll be talking about in just a minute, but they really are trying to deal with this because remember, they were planning to have the event come out the same exact time Mueller's report came out, but it didn't happen. Actually, Alan Dershowitz is out there saying the media must apologize to all Americans following the release of the special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia report. He said, I think a lot of apologies are due to the American public about being misled by many in the media who substituted wishful thinking for factual analysis. Do you really think the mainstream media is going to come out and start to apologize to everyone? No, they're going to spin all of this. John Brennan, he's walking back on everything that he said about Trump. I mean, he pulled a 180 on MSNBC. He said he might have received bad information, bad intel. You mean because the deep state wasn't in control with the information you were being fed? This is what he says. Well, I don't know if I received bad information, but I suspected there was more than there actually was. I am relieved that it's been determined there was no criminal conspiracy with the Russian government over our election. I mean, think about what he's been saying all along. Well, let's read some of it. January 26, 2019. Your cabal of unprincipled, unethical, dishonest, and sycophantic cronies is being methodically brought to justice. We all know where this trail leads. If you utter incompetence is not enough to run you out of office, your increasingly obvious political corruption surely will. February 15, 2019. Quite unfortunately and dangerously, Kim Jong-un has schooled Mr. Trump in the art of the dupe. February 25th, 2019. You shame yourself in the office of the presidency every time you try to smear those who dedicate their lives to public service. These elected officials, like so many others, have worked selflessly on behalf of their fellow citizens, something unfamiliar to one as selfish as you. March 20th. Your bizarre tweets and recent temper tantrums reveal your panic over the likelihood the special counsel will soon further complicate your life, putting your political and financial future in jeopardy. Fortunately, Lady Justice does not do NDAs. So, what is Brennan doing right now? He's walking back everything that he said because he knows what's coming. He's trying to play nice now and trying to walk back everything that he said because he's starting to realize the deep state is no longer in control. Adam Schiff decided to tweet out on March 24th. Mueller spent 2 years investigating obstruction of justice and found evidence that does not exonerate Trump. Barr took 2 days to set aside that evidence. The entire report must be published and evidence provided to Congress so the American people can judge for themselves. He continued, Mueller did not find sufficient evidence to establish conspiracy, notwithstanding Russian offers to help Trump's campaign, their acceptance, and litany of concealed interactions with Russia. I trust Mueller's prosecutorial judgment, but the country must see the evidence. Well, I'd be very careful, Schiff, because I don't think Trump is going to stop the report from coming out. And I want to go back to post 2691 from Q. This was February 11, 2019. Q said the following. If, and this is in brackets in bold, AS, Adam Schiff has seen evidence of collusion and or POTUS Russia illegal activities, and he's stated in the past many times across all DR media networks, why then is there a need to open a new investigation? What about the so-called evidence already seen? I mean, he's been telling us that he's seen all the evidence. Where is it? How is Adam Schiff making open statements, r.e. Mueller not investigating POTUS, Deutsche Bank, thorough enough if Mueller investigation itself is classified? How does Adam Schiff know what Mueller hasn't investigated? Fake news designed to keep the fake narrative in play. Cover in bold and brackets and caps. You are witnessing the greatest disinformation campaign to ever be pushed by a political party. Ask yourself why. Fear of what? The message must be direct. The war is very real. Adam Schiff is panicking right now. He's using Mueller still to say, well, they're hiding something. We need to see the full report. Well, he might not want to see the full report because there goes his entire narrative. It will go down the drain. Nadler tweeted out the following. In light of the very concerning discrepancies in the final decision making at the Justice Department following the special counsel report, where Mueller did not exonerate the president, we will be calling Attorney General Barr in to testify before House Judiciary in the near future. Now, back in post 2681, Q already told us this. This was February 9th, 2019. House D's threatened to subpoena of Barr and Whitaker, D-Class, SC Report, Huber, etc. House D's use subpoena power to Acts 123, spill plus 30 in brackets and bold. They are doing whatever they possibly can to keep this going. They think they still have the insurance policy. And with all their investigations, they believe they have the insurance policy. And I want to just go back to what he said, that Mueller did not exonerate the president. We're going to get into that in just a minute. So Trump has no problem with the release of the full Mueller report. He wants complete transparency. Trump tweeted out the following. The special counsel did not find that the Trump campaign or anyone associated with it conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in these efforts, despite multiple offers from Russian-affiliated individuals to assist the Trump campaign. Mark Meadows countered the mainstream media argument about how Mueller did not exonerate Trump. My Democrat colleagues keep seizing on this line that Mueller report doesn't exonerate the president. Folks, prosecutors don't exonerate people. They either find evidence or they don't. They looked for 22 months and found none. It isn't there. No collusion, no obstruction, which means the president is exonerated. Mueller doesn't come out and say, I exonerate the president. That's not how it works. So GOP Mccarthy, This is the House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy. He is calling on Adam Schiff, who continually advanced the hoax claim that Trump conspired with Russia, so that had all the evidence. He's calling on Schiff to resign and to apologize to the public. Kelly Conway is asking Schiff to resign. There are now calls out there for Schiff to resign. Pelosi and Schumer, they have chimed in about William Barr. And they said Attorney General William Barr's record of bias against Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation of Trump render him unfit to make determinations about Mueller's report. This is coming from Pelosi and Schumer. They're saying that he's not a neutral observer. But again, they didn't provide any examples. They're just out there talking. Why? Because they're panicking. They're trying to use whatever ammo they have, which is really none. And we can see why all these players are panicking. The insurance policy, it's gone. It's been removed. The FBI, Department of Justice, their blockade, gone. Think about all the people that were resigned and fired. Investigations are now being turned towards the deep state. So when we look back at all of this, with the countless articles about Q being a conspiracy theory, about the alternative media and how they need to be blocked because they're bringing up conspiracy theories, how we need to change our algorithms to push them down because of the conspiracy theories, it looks like the mainstream media, they are the conspiracy theorists. For 2 years, they've been pushing a conspiracy theory on the American people. But all these social media platforms went after the alternative media, went after Q, and pushed them down so no one can see it. They pushed all these different channels, all the different Twitter feeds, you name it, they pushed it down in the rankings so you would only see the mainstream media. But the mainstream media was spewing out conspiracy theories because everything that they were saying for 2 years has turned out to be fake, phony, and false. I believe the social media platforms need to reverse their algorithms at this time. So what happens next? Well, this is when the fun starts. Does this mean the deep state's just going to sit back and let it all happen? We know that's not true. We know they're going to fight back until the very, very end. But Representative Devin Nunes, he's going to be referring criminal charges against Clinton operatives and high-level FBI and Department of Justice officials for perpetrating the Russiagate hoax for over 3 years. So now, the American people deserve a full accounting of the missteps of former FBI Director James Comey and his team. In part, so this never happens again. That includes the following. What evidence did the FBI have in totality? What efforts did the Bureau take to verify it? Did it corroborate anything before launching its probe? What role did political players play? How aware was the FBI that it was being gulled into dirty trick operations? And if so, how did it justify proceeding? How intrusive were the FBI methods? And who was harmed? It looks like we need to be asking a lot of these questions. Betty tweeted out the following. Woke Lindsey Graham drops hammer. Calls for a new special counsel to investigate FBI, Department of Justice, Hillary Clinton, Andrew McCabe, James Comey, Fusion GPS, James Clapper, John Brennan, fake Trump dossier, FISA warrant process, anyone who wanted to spy on Trump campaign. Boom. They're making the call right now. Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton, released a statement following the release of Barr's 4-page letter. He said it's time to investigate the investigators and crooked Hillary Clinton. Fitton argued that not only was Russia collusion a hoax, it was a criminal abuse, which is why Tom Fitton has fought and will continue to fight for Russiagate documents in federal court. Tom Fitton then called on Attorney General Barr to begin restoring credibility to the Department of Justice by finally initiating a thorough investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails related pay-to-play scandals and abuses behind the targeting of Trump. Tom Fitton also tweeted out the following. Congress can still impeach President Obama, by the way. So forget about the impeachment against Trump. We should be looking at the impeachment of Obama. We see that Russia has brought in certain military individuals into Venezuela. We're also getting reports that Russia might be transporting S-300 air defense systems into Venezuela. Now, let's just step back for a second. Remember Syria? Assad invited Russia into that country. Russia came in, brought in air defense systems. They went after the Islamic State, and they rid the country of these paid mercenaries. Then Trump got elected. Trump turned everything around, and instead of supporting the Islamic State like Obama did, Trump actually went after the Islamic State and, working with Russia, working with the Syrian army, working with all these teams, got rid of the terrorist groups inside of Syria. So here, Maduro is asking Putin to come in. They're bringing in air defense systems, which creates a lockdown of airspace. So invading Venezuela would be very, very difficult. It also puts up a block against the neocons and the deep state. It makes everything they want to do a whole lot more difficult. Do you think this is by coincidence? No. I mean, Pompeo is out there, and he is saying, and this is right on schedule, that, wait a minute, is Russia trying to start a proxy war between the United States and Russia and Venezuela? Well, I'm going to give them a warning. Well, I'm going to say get ready for peace, not war. This is all part of the playbook. Russia is being used as a block. And I wouldn't be surprised if a Russian representative or a Venezuelan representative reaches out to Trump, or if Trump makes the call and said, listen, I am now willing to speak and maybe we should have some talks. I am open now. Because I think this was planned. I think this was created in such a way that the neocons, deep state, they would do what they do best. They would push their agenda, and then Russia would move in by the request of Maduro, put this huge block up, and now Trump, Russia, Maduro, they can have discussions. Think about North Korea. Same exact type of thing. China stepped in. North Korea was ready to fire missiles at the United States. They were ready for war. And then all of a sudden, we had peace. I believe the same thing is happening here. Let's get into some of Q's posts here. This is post 3176. And we see Senator Jeff Merkley, Jay Inslee, Mark Warner, Tom Steyer, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren. They're all tweeting out the same thing. Barr was handpicked by Trump. I mean, don't you find it a huge coincidence that they're all saying handpicked? That Trump handpicked the Attorney General? And as you can see from all these Twitter accounts and from the mainstream media, they all got the 4 a.m. talking points. The script was distributed and they're all repeating it. Barr has been handpicked by Trump, so he's not objective. Q also gave us a picture of Time magazine. This is the White House and the Kremlin is taking over the White House. Now, this is Time's cover from May 18th, 2017. And it shows the front entrance of the White House on one side and the Kremlin's towers rising on the other in vivid red. The cover comes as the Department of Justice on Wednesday announced the naming of the former FBI Director Robert Mueller as special counsel to investigate Russia interference in the 2016 presidential election. Remember, this was back May 18th, 2017. Q says people around the world are waking up to the fact, not fiction, that the corporate D-Party politically controlled 6 corporations own 90% media fake news is not unbiased journalism, but politically motivated and controlled. Statements, not facts. This is in bold brackets, all caps. Think for yourself and stop being a sheep to their narrative. They will be held accountable. Nobody walks away from this. Q. So let's tackle the talking points about Trump handpicking the Attorney General. Under the Appointment Clause of the United States Constitution, the officer holder is nominated by the President of the United States and appointed with the advice and consent of the United States Senate. So what is the Appointments Clause? Well, this is part of Article 2, Section 2, Clause 2 of the United States Constitution, which empowers the President of the United States to nominate and, with the advice and consent, confirmation of the United States Senate, appoint public officials. So Trump nominates, the Senate has to confirm. So he didn't handpick this individual. He followed the Constitution. Now, Congress passed the Judiciary Act of 1789, which, among other things, established the office of the Attorney General. The original duties of this officer were to prosecute and conduct all suits in the Supreme Court in which the United States shall be concerned, and to give his advice and opinion upon questions of law when required by the President of the United States, or when requested by the heads of any other departments. So you can see they're trying to use this 4 a.m. talking point saying that Trump handpicked this individual, so he's biased. No, he nominated someone, and the Senate, after many, many questions, decided to confirm him. Post 3177. Why didn't POTUS fire Rod Rosenstein after reporting R.E. offer to wear a wire? Well, the mainstream media would use this to say that he's obstructing the investigation, plus he needed Rod Rosenstein for something very, very important. Plus, he didn't want to interfere with what was going on. Why did Whitaker Barr retain Rod Rosenstein to the end? Optics. He needed Rod Rosenstein to sign off on the report. Who signed off on the Mueller summary report submitted by Barr yesterday? Rod Rosenstein and Barr. Who signed fraudulent FISA warrants? Rod Rosenstein, Comey, Yates. Who appointed Mueller as special counsel? Rod Rosenstein. Who has full control? The Patriots. Optics are very important. Q. Let's move on to post 3178. Q says, the only way to regain the trust, R.E. equal justice under the law, White House, R.E. Intel, R.E. FBI, R.E. Department of Justice, R.E. Senate, R.E. Congress, 5I, our government, of the majority of the American people is to provide truth, transparency, and prosecution of all those who knowingly took part in this illegal manufactured effort. This brackets bold attempted coup to take down the President of the United States. And next to it, it has number 1 bold in brackets. And it says, again, brackets bold number 1, opens the door. It's funny, just a couple of reports ago, I said the door is open. The people have to decide to walk through it. Under this, it says the Great Awakening. So the door is now open to knowledge, the truth, transparency. And Annan believes that the number 1 refers to the following. 1 of 22 clown ops exposed. Number 1 equals Russiagate. But if we go back to post 524, this is January 13, 2018, Q also mentions number 1, number 2, number 3, and on and on and on. Number 1 was Hussein. Well, he was involved in Russiagate. Number 2 is John McCain, and Q wrote, we don't say his name. Number 3 is Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton. Number 4 is Nancy Pelosi. And then Q went on and on and on and said, follow the money. Focus on loudest voices in Washington. Net worth, reconcile. So this is what Q might mean, that we're just on number 1 row, and that is Obama. We're going to be going down the list to all the others. Post 3179. Q says, listen and watch Sean Hannity today. So Hannity's message is how deep the corruption goes. The people who have been carrying out these agendas and involved in all these scandals, cover-ups, treasonous acts, need to be prosecuted. And if you get a chance, go take a listen to Hannity. Post 3180. Q gives us a Twitter link to John Nassif. It says, a hint of things to come. There are no coincidences, we are told. Fire at will, Commander. Q says, listen very carefully. So let's take a listen.
Did this turn out to not be a witch hunt after all? You think Robert Mueller did a...
It's lasted a long time. We're glad it's over. It's 100% the way it should have been. I wish it could have gone a lot sooner, a lot quicker. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. And hopefully that people that have done such harm to our country, we've gone through a period of really bad things happening. Those people will certainly be looked at. I've been looking at them for a long time, and I'm saying, why haven't they been looked at? They lied to Congress. Many of them, you know who they are. They've done so many evil things. I will tell you, I love this country. I love this country as much as I can love anything. My family, my country, my God. But what they did, it was a false narrative. It was a terrible thing. We can never let this happen to another president again. I can tell you that. I say it very strongly. Very few people I know could have handled it. We can never, ever let this happen to another president again. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So then Q says, digest the full gravity of what the President of the United States says in this clip. Q. That we're going to see a lot more happen because bad people have done very bad things. Post 3181 gives us a picture of Lady Justice. And under this it says, blind justice under the law will return to our republic. This is all in caps. There is a reason why a sword is held. Well, let me just go through the blindfold. Let me go through the scales and then the sword. So the origin of Lady Justice was from Roman mythology. This was the goddess of justice. Lady Justice is most often depicted with a set of scales, typically suspended from one hand, upon which she measures the strengths of a case's support and opposition. The scales represent the weighing of evidence, and the scales lack a foundation in order to signify that evidence should stand on its own. Since the 16th century, Lady Justice has often been depicted wearing a blindfold. The blindfold represents impartiality, the ideal that justice should be applied without regard to wealth, power, or other status. The sword represents authority in ancient times and conveys the idea that justice can be swift and final. What does Q tell us? There is a reason why a sword is held. So keep an eye on the sword, because justice is going to be swift and final. Now, something very interesting, and Annan picked up on something that Barr said, and this was in the Daily Beast. William Barr, I can conceive of situations where journalists might be jailed as a last resort. Now, remember post 3115, where it said Mueller, in brackets and bold, report delay, panic in D.C. The real panic comes in the form of a last resort. Plus 21, plus 2, plus 4. Now, some people believe the 21 might indicate which network, which journalists Barr will be going after. So, who is panicking now? It is the deep state. It is the journalists. And you can see right now that Trump, the Patriots, they are in full control. Placeholders on the ready. Everything is moving forward. The insurance policy, the blockade, all gone. This doesn't mean the deep state is not going to try to fight back. This doesn't mean the mainstream media is not going to try to spin as much as they possibly can. Actually, let them. Let the enemy destroy themselves. Let everyone around the world see what they are doing, because every time they do this, they expose what they've been doing. And people are seeing this now. And people are questioning it now. Who's the real conspiracy theorist? The mainstream media. They've been telling us all along that there's been Russian collusion. And they've been telling us that Trump will be taken down. All the deep state players have been telling us this. Wait until Mueller's finished. Trump, he's going to be taken down. He's going to be going to prison. What happened? The complete opposite. This is just the beginning. The plan is going into overdrive right now. Hold on. It's going to be fast and furious. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.